All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the August 26th Litchfield Budget Committee meeting. Hopefully everyone had a good summer. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to wish a member a very happy birthday tonight. Mr. Barca, happy birthday. Thank you for joining us on such a special occasion.
Thank you.
21 never looks so good, right?
I try.
All right. With that, we're going to start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Next up on our agenda this evening is public input. Hearing and seeing nobody from the audience tonight and for the public, we will close public input. There'll be another opportunity at the end of tonight's meeting. Next up is review, changes, additions to tonight's agenda. Nothing? Pretty status quo?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next up is correspondence. So I do have, like past meetings, I do have a list of correspondence just to read off over the past couple of months. It's been since June 24th since we met. So there were town budget reports circulated on a weekly basis. Thank you to the town and Heather for doing that so frequently and regularly. June 25th, July 2nd, July 9th, July 15th, July 23rd, July 30th, 8/6, 8/13, as well as August 20th, 8/20. We did receive town budget reports. We also received minutes from our June 24th meeting on June 26th. There was an email from Mrs. Harrison on formality of handshake agreements and what the committee would like to do. If there's more of a formal MOU, memorandum of understanding we want to put together with the school for quote unquote handshake agreements. There's also on July 5th an email from the Conservation Commission that was just requesting a copy of our bylaws as they look to set up their own bylaws. July 6th, there was a Capital Improvement Planning Committee meeting cancellation, which was scheduled for July 19th. We have not met at this point in several months, and we're working with Chairman Croto to get that on the calendar and rescheduled. July 14th, town facilities and meeting room COVID restrictions were lifted by the Board of Selectmen, and that was circulated to all towns and boards. On July 27th, Town Administrator Brown distributed the 2022 town budget schedule to department heads. On August 8th, there was a request for information submitted by Mrs. Douglas to the school, which had anticipated staffing levels, current enrollment, and budget reallocation questions.
Also talk about buses too.
And buses as well. Yeah. On August 9th, there was an August 4th school business administrator report circulated to the budget committee. August 11th, planning for the capital improvement planning meeting in August was going to be coordinated by Chairman Croto, as mentioned. On August 11th, there was also an email specifically from Dr. Jetty on the bus contract. And the comment was, as we adjust start end times for schools, there is a severe shortage in drivers. Need to be budget conscious, but not so tight that we lose staff, no one to drive. Let me finish and then we can talk.
Yeah, no, I don't have that email either.
August 19th, July business administration report and an August 18th update. August 20th, Mrs. Harrison email on school board conflict for this evening. August 24th, Mrs. Stevens email on NHMA training, which we'll talk about. And just for the record, if anybody's interested in that training, it's held on September 14th. And just to let me know, and we'll request that from the town for registration. And August 25th, Mrs. Harrison email update in prep for tonight's meeting. Mrs. Harrison did send some information that I will read during the school update tonight. Questions?
Can we forward the email from Mrs. Harrison about the memorandum of understanding relative to handshake agreements?
That was going to be talked about tonight.
Oh, okay.
And
all right, because I also don't have Dr. Jetty, so.
Yeah.
She was just requesting that we meet, and then we didn't.
We didn't meet. I had actually asked for time to meet to talk about that. That was not agreed upon, so we didn't meet, and we were going to talk about it tonight. But then, because of conflicts with the school scheduling and interviewing principals, they're not here tonight.
Well, I think it's great to talk about because I think it's sad we have to put it in writing. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, so we can certainly talk about that at our next meeting.
I'm happy to talk about it later tonight. So.
All right. Anything else from correspondence from other committee members that I didn't read off? You have the list? You good? Okay. All right, next up, we do have our minutes from June 24th. I didn't see any changes or additions or modifications to those minutes.
No, I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
We have a motion by Mrs. Douglas,
Second.
second by Mr. Barca. All those in favor? I'll do a roll call vote actually because we have Mr. Hayes on the phone tonight. Mr. Barca,
Yes.
Ms. Douglas,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
I am going to abstain. Mr.
Yes.
Leary,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes, and Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Yes. So 5, 6, 7, 701. Did I count right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Fantastic. Yeah, because we don't have teams.
Thanks, Matt.
That's right. I'm used to 8,
Keeping us
or
honest.
9. That's why. Town business. Okay. Moving right along. Mr. Leary.
Yeah, the town has started the review of the departmental budgets. Next couple of weeks, we'll continue on until we're done. You guys will probably be getting updates along the way from Troy, but that's underway. I know I mentioned it before the meeting, but the people at home, there's a Chaos and Kindness show at Dara Pond on Saturday evening. Tickets are on sale. And the other things I have is the town is supposedly getting some ARPA funds. The recovery, American Recovery Plan. Somewhere, the possibility of somewhere in the 900,000 range. But
Wow.
right now, I think we've accepted 450,000, or we've received that so far.
So it's
Don't know
in
if we'll get the full
addition,
amount.
so an additional 9 or 500 to bring it to 9?
500 so far, with the possibility of it going up to 900,000.
Wow.
It can be used for a lot of different things. Loss of revenue was a big one that we were discussing the other night. Another thing that we talked about is changing all the lights in town from regular to LEDs for cost savings and longevity purposes. But there's a multitude of things it can be used for. It can't be used for regular budgetary purposes, but it can be used for other things if you have a cause for it. And there's deadlines as to when it has to be spent and all that. So other than that, building inspector is now on full time. Jeff joined us 2 weeks ago and has been running around. And
Welcome to Jeff.
welcome to Jeff. Yeah, real good guy, getting good reviews from everyone that's dealt with him so far. And that's about it on the town. Budget's a big thing.
Mr. Leary, I was going back and looking. We received, I think, the preliminary draft budget as the board was working through it
Mhm.
in September last year. Would it be possible for us to get a copy of that as you all are working through it, just for our own visibility?
Sure. I will ask Troy.
Yeah, I'm
Send
sure
it
that's
right
a
over to you
Google
guys.
Drive
Yep.
link or
Yep.
something,
Yeah,
right?
that's what it was.
Yep. And I had extended the invitation to, I know Andrew sat in last year on some of our meetings. You had a CIP meeting and you were here, so we invited him to stay. But if some people want to sit in on the meetings, we discussed it and Troy said, yeah, if anybody wanted to just be in the crowd and have questions, more than welcome. More than
Fantastic.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. I think
Just
it
one-
makes the process easier if you guys, if you're seeing it in person.
Just one comment so far. I've watched half of the meeting. I thought the tax collector, town clerk
Mhm.
did an excellent job of going through and really explaining
Mhm.
and giving that deep dive information. I think for
Yep.
everybody to be able to watch that
Yep.
and be able to be prepared when you actually just look at the spreadsheet and get a good understanding as far as what Terry was presenting and why,
Mhm.
will go a long way as far as making sure that our meetings go efficiently.
Great.
I heard
Thanks.
postage is
That's
going
awesome.
up to 58 cents.
Yep.
Right.
Crazy.
Who sends mail anymore?
Well, evidently.
We do.
Taxpayers.
It'd almost be cheaper to hire a kid to deliver them by bike.
All right, Mr. Leary, anything else?
Right?
That's about it.
Any other questions for the town? No? Okay. Mr. Hayes, you still with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, sir. Appreciate that. Moving on to the agenda, we have our RSA 3222 and a review of expenditures. As mentioned at the start, we have several different reports that the town had sent over the past 2 months. Any questions on expenses? No? Okay. Shifting gears into school business, Mrs. Harrison did have a conflict this evening. In fact, the school has a conflict this evening as they interview for new middle school principals. So she was not able to make tonight. She does send her apologies. She did in advance prepare some information that I'll share with the committee, and also can email it afterwards as well. She wanted to share that just as a reminder, schools are opening next Monday, August 30th. All students will attend in person this year. She did provide an update on the collective bargaining agreements with the LEA as well as the LSSA, the Litchfield Support Staff. Contracts will be included on the March ballots for both the LEA and LSSA, and that I understand that they're close to a tentative agreement with the Litchfield Support Staff Administration, which is great, and they're starting to begin the process with the LEA. That's the word on the street. I'm not going to read these all, but there are many positions still open for various schools, and they're posted on August 20 on their website. As of 8:24 at 9 p.m., there has to be at least 15 or 20 positions here in various roles. So if there's anybody interested that happens to be listening in, check out the website. The school board did approve the tuition rate for 2021 going into 2022. I did receive that as well. Looking at the file I received, the annual district expense for this particular year is $16,376. That's across all 3 schools. The daily rate is $90.98 per student, and that's again average across all 3 schools. I will note that it appears to be a drop this year from last year. Last year, if I look at the elementary school as an example, that was at $16,728, and this year it's at $15,290, which I thought was very interesting. I don't know why, but that's the information that's been shared. In terms of a facilities improvement update, based upon the August 12th construction management meeting with North Branch Construction, many of the items to be completed are tracking on time or ahead of schedule, which is great. They are expecting the window installation, today's the 26th. My understanding is the window installation was anticipated to be completed by yesterday, the 25th. New rooftop unit, ERV unit to service the administration guidance area of the building has been installed and has been started up and calibrated. Flooring is installed and completed. Phase 1 of the project is anticipated to be completed with time to spare for the facilities crew to set up classrooms beginning August 25th, yesterday. There's an acronym for the new elementary, evidently, and that acronym is NLES, which is New Litchfield Elementary School. I don't know if that's formal or informal, but that's what we're going to go with. There's an approved contract with Barker Architects of Concord, New Hampshire. They used $117,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund to specifically fund pre-bond planning and design, community outreach, and an application process for the NH building aid. That's what I have for the school. Any commentary, questions we
They
should
spent
discuss?
100,000 on designs and outreach, is that what you said?
117,000 from the capital improvement, which includes pre-bond planning and design, community outreach, and application process for NH building aid. I don't know the costs to fund those types of scale projects.
No idea either. It just seems like a lot.
Yeah, a vote that we don't even know is going to pass.
You probably know better than I would.
But
Seems like a lot of money.
again, it seems like a lot of money when we don't even know it's going to pass. So it's just, wow.
Okay.
So I had asked questions. I had anticipated her to include a response to my questions in that, other than. So
We'll have to wait until next meeting.
in a very polite and controlled manner, that's crap. Because we haven't seen her, and it will be 3 months by the time we sit down in the meeting. I'm very concerned about what this says that the budget season is going to look like.
I don't think so. I think that the school just had, kind of a unique situation where they're searching for a principal, and I think we need to be sensitive to that process and trying to get a new principal into that school as soon as possible.
I would be interested to see, like, this meeting's been scheduled for months.
It has.
They could not have
I
had
full
a.
agenda that has been scheduled for months.
They
That
could
is
not
true.
have had an interview yesterday, or Tuesday, or Monday. I mean, the principal resigned a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I find it very disturbing that the one day that we can do this is on a day that we've already had a meeting scheduled a year in advance. To me, sorry, I find that very concerning and troubling as to what we're going to be looking at going, especially if we're talking about a memorandum of understanding for practices that have been out here for 20 years. I'm very troubled.
Okay. Any other comments?
I would also like to see the emails from Mr. Jetty and about the bus contract, because I would have
Oh.
probably had other comments that I would have had prepared.
Sure. It was literally one sentence as read, but I'm glad to share it.
Yeah. So we need to be sensitive to what does that even mean? When we do a budget, it's based on number of bus runs. We've reduced the number of bus runs. Is the cost of the bus run gone up? Like what are we looking at? I mean, because the reality is,
We're in a fixed price contract with the buses, as you know.
but it's based on number of runs. If we added a run, you can be sure that they were going to charge us extra for that run based on the unit rate. So converse argument is if we reduce a run, we should see a credit for the equivalent amount.
Yeah, but I think if we're in a fixed price contract, it doesn't work that way, right?
Then we
Either-
can add
either
3
way.
runs and then not have to worry about the cost, because that's not the way it works. So the reality is, why? Because I mean, it's just appalling to me. Like, and it just, like I said, if it would have been nice to have that, I could have responded and said, hey, can you please clarify? Because the reality is, when we set this budget, we based it on a number of runs. That number of runs has changed. It reduced. So then the taxpayer should be able to say, hey, my cost associated with that line item has changed. That money should, in our minds at least, be like, okay, that's set aside. I know it's a bottom line budget and it'll get reallocated. But at the end of the day, when I look at the budget, I'm going to say, you owe me money.
No,
So
I
it's-
disagree with that. I look at that contract, and having looked at the bus contract for many years, I do view that as a fixed price, regardless of what the decisions are to increase or decrease runs. We still owe contractually what we owe.
Which is based on a number of runs. Because if you look at the contract, at 9, so many runs, $300 and some odd dollars per run. If we reduce the runs, there should be a credit. If we add the runs, there should be an add. It's very simple contract language. That's the way. And if it's not written that way, then we need to discuss how the contract
I
is
don't
written.
believe it's written that way.
Well, then when the bus contract comes up, we need to take a serious look, because you can be guaranteed they'd charge us for extra runs.
What we'll do is I'll forward you the email, and if there's subsequent questions, by all means.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Anything else? No. Mr. Hayes.
No, that's good.
All right.
It'd be
Anything?
nice. It would be nice to see a copy of the contract so we could, see what the language is.
Sure. Bus contract.
Is it on the school board site? Might be. I have no idea though.
Yeah. we'll take
We
a look.
usually get the highlights of what's changed. I'm like,
I think we actually received the full contract.
Yeah,
So I'll take a look.
so-
Any questions on school budget reports that have been circulated?
I had raised the concern about special ed transportation funds being used for the LMS upgrades, and had encouraged them to take a look at that again. I'm not sure if that actually got done. I know we spent the funds, but perhaps that's why we have a request for a memorandum of understanding. But I'd be interested. Did we look at that and decide to say we're going to absolutely nuke that agreement, or did they decide to take a look at it and to uphold the long-standing agreement? So I'd be curious to know where that landed.
Sure. Yeah,
She
that's
said
it.
that they hope to get COVID money to
Right.
offset some of it. Did they ever get that or?
Yeah, I don't know. Much.
We should know, because the end of year should have been reconciled, but
I think my frustration is I've now asked multiple occasions for encumbrances, and I have no clear picture of what was encumbered and for what purpose at the end of the year.
so we do not receive a budget report from the school as frequently as we used to once upon a time. Could we request like twice a month, once a month? Has to be, because it is frustrating to be able to go months when like I have no idea. Like, we can't do our
I
legally obligated
Once a
responsibility.
month should be,
I have requested it once a month.
Yeah.
I'm not receiving it once a month.
So what can we do about that? Because if we request, it shall be provided.
Right.
So what do we do?
It should happen like clockwork. It doesn't. And that's an action item that Mrs. Harrison needs to take.
Doesn't the school board get it at least once a month?
They get it once, probably twice a month.
Yeah. So
So-
just forward it, right?
Just forward it. That's all it takes.
I just don't know that I know what the law says. It says shall be provided, but I don't know if there's any like, and if they don't, you can do this. Like, all I can do is like say, hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, but that
It
it.
should be included in the MOU.
Oh, man.
I'm just saying,
You
it
had
works
to go
both
there,
ways,
huh?
right?
Again, I think because one of the concerns I have about this, because something's going to get missed, and they're like, oh, well, you didn't include that in the memorandum of understanding. I'm like, dude, we've been doing this for 20 years. Really? Well, you didn't include it, even though you've done it this way for the past 25 years, but you didn't include it. Yeah, it makes me. Yeah.
All right. Well, sounds like there's some outstanding questions with the school. So, we'll be sure to talk to Mrs. Harrison at our next meeting, which is September 23rd for sure. Anything else in the school before we move into member input?
Do they have an actual schedule for when because there was things were getting moved and shifted and meetings were getting
Schedule.
for the budget review
Yeah,
process?
that's been finalized.
That is
That has been circulated. And so, yeah, kind of the updates after the June meeting, I understand just from the school process, we are anticipating a draft school budget to the budget committee to be delivered somewhere by November 2nd. The school review sessions, budget school review sessions, which I would anticipate being held at Campbell as in years past,
Monday or Tuesday, right?
will be on the 4th as well as Monday the 8th. So joint budget school session on November 4th, which I believe is a Thursday, as well as Monday the 8th. And then we have really a couple week period from that point because of Veterans Day, and we'll begin our reviews starting November 18th.
Okay.
Well, one of the things we had talked about when we planned this out in the spring was the opportunity for people to join virtually. Based on our conversation earlier, that might be something we want to put on Mr. Brunel's radar to make sure for those sessions we have the ability for people to WebEx in, whether it's a principal, a department chair, whoever,
Agree.
to ask those questions. So we
Agree. And I think
plan that in advance.
now that the COVID restrictions have changed, I think it's worth having another conversation to iron out what that process looks like. Yep. Sounds good. Anything else on upcoming meetings? No? All right. Sounds good. We'll shift gears and move into member input, new business. I know from the facilities standpoint, again, the CIPC has not met. We did receive an update on the school facilities. Anything else to add, John David?
Now, the school, we did not meet in July or August
Okay.
as a formal committee.
Ms. Stevens, I know you forwarded again the NHMA schedule for upcoming budget sessions. That is going to be planned for September 14th. Are there any committee members interested in joining that session?
Is it virtual or in person?
It's virtual.
What was the date?
September 14th.
The Tuesday, and I want to say it was like 9 to 4, so it's like all day.
And what was it again?
It's the NHMA budget workshop that they put on for, local government things of the nature. I've attended it,
It's a good.
I believe,
workshop.
three times at this point. It is a good workshop. It's obviously a nice refresher. So if there's anybody who's interested, please let me know. Shoot me an email, and I will request the town to register you. All right.
You can sign me up now because I am gonna.
Yeah, I'll shoot you an email. Yep,
If that's the one that you'd recommend.
that's the one. Yeah, and thank you for bringing that to my attention. That was published. All right. Anything else from member input, new business?
I didn't. I lost it. I'm good for now.
No.
Too mad.
I think with that, that's really all we had for an agenda tonight. I know the fun really begins starting at our September 23rd meeting and then subsequently September 30th and forward once we really get into the budget season. Anything else from any other committee members before we conclude? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So
I'm sorry,
wait.
we have public input.
Yeah.
Any other public input? Nobody has joined us.
Do we need? We're gonna need a table for the next meeting. Just if we're 2 members short right now, I don't know that we're gonna fit. Just a logistical issue.
We can't. We have an actual permit to operate and this exact structure per the chief. So we'll figure that out.
All right, have fun with that.
All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Well made.
We have a motion by Ms. Douglas, a second by Mr. Hayes. Mr. Barca?
Yes.
Ms. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
I'm an aye. Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Jen David? Yes. Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
It passes 8-0-0. We are adjourned. Next meeting, September 23rd.
Is that a record?
No. Beat it by 1 minute last time.
Really, really close.
Thank you all. Have a good evening and see you in a month.
We're just banking the minutes for later this year.
Yeah.